Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It was Liverpool 0, Atalanta 2 in the Champions League, and just so bad. Such a bad performance. But yeah, it's not time for my reaction, it's time for your reactions to that game. If you are a member here on YouTube, you can react live in the members only chat in the comments. If you want me to read a comment, just write the word mate, which is me, my name, just so I know that you're talking to me. So I'll go through some of them. Welcome aboard Michael Sutton, who's just joined as a member, so you can get involved in the comments there, mate. Also, alternatively, you can tweet underneath Ross's tweet over on @the_Redmen_TV Twitter account, and I'll get through a few of those in a moment. But I'll start it with a comment here from Stuart Wisby. He says, so many subpar performances. I worry about Nico and Curtis, starting to think they won't ever reach the quality of a first team player. I hope I'm wrong. Also think Origi has had a season too many. I agree on the Origi thing. It's to some extent, and I do want to talk about Origi, but I disagree on the Nico and Curtis thing. I get Nico Williams. I don't think anyone thinks Nico Williams is at the moment is doing an outstanding job as a young right back. I think he's doing a reasonable job as a young right back, to be perfectly honest. I think it's worth remembering that he's 19 years old. I think on the Curtis thing, I find it, honest, Stuart, without looking to dig Stuart out here, we're a few days away from seeing a fantastic Curtis Jones performance and absolutely singing his praises at the weekend. It happens. Young players have up and down games, don't they? I wouldn't be looking at this performance and pinning any blame, even though you could probably pin blame. It's interesting. Reece Williams is actually completely at fault for one of their goals. And yeah, he would be one of the ones that I would draw attention to because it's a tangible mistake that causes a real problem in the game for us. But 19 years old, 19-year-old kids in the team, they're going to have off moments. But did the senior players perform well in that game? And that's the big question for me. Looking around the pitch at the lads who were supposed to be the real talent in the team, were they at the races? Were they dragging the team over the line? So it's kind of like if we focus our attention, I think, on the likes of Nico and Curtis and Reece Williams, etc., I think we're letting the likes of Mane and Salah and Origi and Milner and Wijnaldum completely off the hook for really, really below par performances. Jonathan Cook, mate, Salah and Mane should have provided the class. They didn't exactly. Origi did sweet FA. The rest of the team played the system with little or no creativity. And that's an interesting point because we were talking about this during commentary. If you had to describe how Liverpool's system functions, or which players in our team most suit the way we play and make the team play the way that it does, I think you'd say you'd say Virgil van Dijk at centre half, because not only does he command in a defensive presence, but he obviously has the ability to turn defence into attack with massive balls down the pitch. So yeah, okay, well we know Virgil. That's been a while now. We can deal with that. Okay, well the fullbacks, so both our fullbacks are incredibly pivotal. There's a reason why they both break assist records, because they set up a lot of our goals. Okay, neither of them playing in the game today. And then we'd say, regardless of whether he's firing in front of goal or not, Roberto Firmino links the attack, and he's the linchpin there. And you could even go and say Jordan Henderson's the engine. Someone like Naby Keita provides creativity. Oxlade-Chamberlain provides drive from midfield. Thiago Alcantara's meant to be doing those kind of things. The key, we had some important elements, Salah and Mane, but we had the bits and pieces around it just weren't working today for us for whatever reason. Prajish Pujari saying, mate, I wouldn't read too much into this result. This is a team that hasn't started together, and it showed. As long as we qualify for the round of 16 and beat Brighton, not too asked about the results. And that's the thing, it puts a little bit more pressure on, when you lose a game, it puts a pressure on the next game, because you want to, therefore, your desire to win one, your need for another win grows, because I think we all have a lot of our emotional happiness kind of hinged upon Liverpool's success, because let's face it, there's not many other things going boss in the world, is there? Or are there? So yeah. JM says, mate, do you think the Klopp got it with the timing and choices of the substitutions? That's like you've loaded the question there, but in absence of the word. It's hard to say, because we're making the substitutions and we score while we're about just before we make the subs. So I think, when the game's 0-0 And they're not really causing us any problems. We're not really causing them any problems. And then you go to bring on your lads and make your big shift. And instead of it coming in at 0-0, you're coming in at 1-0 down. Psychologically, it's just a different game. Atalanta's game plan was emboldened by what they were doing. There was no need for Atalanta to continue to press. And I think at 0-0, maybe a couple of little gaps start to open. But at 1-0, Atalanta are done. They're completely vindicated in their approach so far. So yeah, it is a tricky one indeed. So right, I'm going to just jump over to Twitter. If you're a YouTube member, you can comment live alongside this now. If you just joined us, welcome. Just write Mate and then you comment there. I'll come back over to the members' comments in a moment, but I'm going to nip over to Twitter. And Johnny Gibson 33 says Atalanta had to win. We didn't, and it showed. Thought they were excellent, aggressive defending and 2 really well worked goals. I expect a reaction early doors on Saturday. Look, we'll have to expect a reaction because that's what we should be doing from our side. I haven't lost the game, but I'm glad to see a lot of these comments. It's all well and good saying Liverpool was shit, and I think Liverpool contributed to it, definitely, because I don't think that wasn't anything like the level we've come to expect of a home as well. I've seen some really stodgy, dodgy away performances in the group stage of the Champions League. Think of throwing 3 goals away at Sevilla, and I think about not last season's Napoli away, but the season before. We were awful in that game, awful away from home. At home, we've all come to expect a little bit better, but Atalanta were brilliant. Atalanta had a game plan, and they enacted it wonderfully. And any even hints of danger that Liverpool threatened to create, they snuffed them out. They were strong, they were physical, they were just on the right side of physical and dirty, which again was it's a line that Liverpool have trodden really well in the last few years. So it was a recognisable performance from Atalanta. They were very us in a good way. Mr. B says thanks for the memories, Divock, but your days are numbered. No real leader out on the pitch, and it showed. On to the next one. Yeah, Milner is an interesting one because he's the captain. We saw a fantastic James Milner performance at the weekend, but it's Sunday night to Wednesday. He's nearly 35 years old. He's back into the heart of the midfield, and we actually needed someone. There's a couple of chances where he gets in and around the box, and you could have just done with those fine margins being absolutely spot on. And whether it's age or just the limits of what Milner can offer as a midfielder, that was an issue. I don't think he lacked drive and determination and what have you, but yeah, not having Jordan Henderson, you can't go too many games without Hendo because he is so vital to our midfield. The Divock thing's mad because I agree. I don't think anyone thinks that there's a long-term future for Divock at Liverpool really, but I'd also just say to caveat any criticism of Origi, that is his. Well, he's played. We looked at this in the game. He's played 180 minutes of football this season. That's like a cumulative total of 2 matches. It's basically nothing. He had this against Midtjylland as well, where he's just thrown in and gone, right, you need to go and perform. And we were crap on that night as well. So there's a lot asked of Divock, and he doesn't suit the style of play. I personally had to just put him on the left and put Wanamani and Salah up front, to be bluntly honest with it. It didn't really work out for him. I understood why. If Atalanta were going to come at us, then maybe there was an opportunity to play, to use his pace on the counter-attack, but those opportunities never really came for us, did they? Football LFC says, tough with this fixture congestion, but I seriously think the team was over-rotated tonight. Costas has barely played any minutes for us, and throwing him into this game against a great side was always going to be tough. But here's the problem, because I do think you're right. I think you're 100% right. The side was over-rotated, but what else? But what's the choice? What's the alternative? Because maybe you wait another couple of weeks until Trent's back, and then you put Kostas Tsimikas in, so you've at least got one of your fullbacks. To change both the fullbacks when I think you need one of them on the pitch at all times really is tough. But he's got to get his game time, because the problem is, if you don't play Tsimikas in this game, you've got to play Robertson. When's Robbo getting his break? He's just gone on international duty. We've just seen Naby Keita play 2 games over the internationals and then get injured in the next. If Robbo gets injured, we're fucked. Because maybe Tsimikas will come good and maybe he'll be just as good, but we're going to be doing this. All of a sudden, you're dropping Tsimikas into a game where it really does matter, and he's it then. you've got no choice but to sink or swim, and he's not fit, he's not up to speed, he's not integrated with the side. But look, when we eased Robertson into the team as well, and we have to take gambles on some players. There's a difference in rotation for rotation's sake. Klopp at the moment is trying to keep his best players as fresh as possible. He's trying to get a couple of other lads up to speed. And the only way to do that is to not play your good lads and play your lads who haven't played. And that's got to happen at some point. And we can afford, it sounds stupid, but we could afford to make a mistake in the Champions League. You can't afford to make a mistake in the Premier League, because that's been the Premier League now for, we lost one game and finished second 2 seasons ago. That's what could happen. You know what I mean? They're the Wales, and they're the fine margins of it all, really. So I'm forgiving of it, but I also think you're right. Liverpool lost this game because they rotated too much. But what I'm saying is I don't necessarily think there was too much of a choice, because let's be honest, footballers have finite energy reserves, and muscles have only so much they can go through and what have you. And there's a lot of sports science at the centre of things. And if we hadn't seen any injuries, I think this would feel like a bit of a stretch from me. But we've seen so many injuries that I would be, if we played our full strength team here and then didn't win, which was a possibility because Atalanta played brilliantly tonight. And then either we then go again and we're crap against Brighton. Everyone goes, well, we should have been rotated in midweek, really, shouldn't we? Because we're top of the group and we had 3 wins under our belt, etc., etc. You can't win in some instances. Big Nifs, Atalanta was slicked out the 90. Credit to them. We look laboured, second to every ball and no killer instinct. Very passive in the first half in particular. Don't mind it though. Some young players got minutes under their belt and need to improve. Yeah, and again, just to reiterate on this, 3 19-year-olds in this team, and then if Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita, Thiago Alcantara, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, there's 4 midfielders who would be in the side. And if we had any one of them, there's a chance that Milner plays at right back again, which means that you don't have to play Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk. And obviously, again, additionally, us not buying another centre half when we probably should have done leads to... I'm repeating myself. You get my point on all this. Mohamed Ansab Chowdhury saying we could have played another 90 minutes and still not managed a shot on target. Absolute shite. Yeah, it was. It was shite, wasn't it? Let's not dress it up any other way and say that it was shite. Thanks again to Michael Sutton and Jem who've joined us as a YouTube member. Tier 1 members, of course, get access to the emote. You get access to the comments on this show after every single game. If you are a Tier 2, which is Club Captain, or Tier 3, you get a bonus show each and every week, 60 minutes analysis from the weekend's game in the Final Word show, which we stream live to YouTube members on Monday morning, which is always good. Prajesh says here, mate, we shouldn't be too harsh on any of the players today. We are down to the bare bones in midfield and defence. Hopefully Hendo, Thiago, Ox are back soon and we have the numbers in midfield. I agree. And I think that's as simple as it is. We've got to remember that Liverpool, we've made it quite hard for ourselves in Champions League group stages since we've got back to the Champions League, and we've had very good Champions League campaigns more often than not since we have done. We want Liverpool to win every game. I think given the pressing circumstances around it all, I think we're kind of in a situation where we have to rotate, but we also have to show slight preference to one of the 2 games in a week. If we'd not won our previous 3 games, I think we would have preferenced this game. But because of the fact that we have done, and the Premier League is so tight at the top, and I think we want to get as many points on the board as possible, I think we've designed this squad rotation around being as strong as possible for the weekend. We'll have to see whether that's right or wrong, but on Saturday lunchtime, really, won't we? Yeah, Leon Gary says, mate, I feel Liverpool are never really great when they don't have to win. Do you agree? Find it hard to care about this result, big against the goal. Yeah, I don't think Liverpool feel like that, to be honest, mate. I think it's hard because I think none of us are elite sportsmen, so it's hard for us to engage with that. I think when we have an absence of information, we tend to fill the gaps with our own thoughts and feelings on stuff. So I can see your case, and I think if it was me, I might think that. Maybe I felt that way as a fan. I don't think Liverpool feel that way. I got no sense that Liverpool didn't want to win the game there. I saw us doing a lot of the right things, but every time the ball went up to Mane, he's being pressed, he's being kicked, he's being harried from all directions. They cut off all of his options for taking the ball and turning it towards goal, and they did that across the front line. And what we lacked was because a game that midfield's just played two games back to back. When the midfield, if you know one thing about Jurgen Klopp teams, we don't rotate the front three very often. We haven't done because we haven't had the options. So like normally Firmino, Salah, Mane play a lot of football. They get rest in substitutions, not in full games. We very rarely rotate the back five, but we rotate the midfield like all the time because that does so much dirty work for us. Well, we've just put the same midfield, and that midfield has Gini Wijnaldum, who can have amazing games, but he's our third choice DM, maybe fourth choice this season. We'll see. You've got James Milner, who's nearly 35 years old, who's just played a massive and played right back for 60 minutes of the game, up and down the wings as well. And 19-year-old Kurt Jones, who is 19 years old, had a brilliant game at the weekend. And again, because he's a teenager, he's going to be up and down. What I'm saying is there's plenty of reasons why Liverpool were a bit crap tonight. They should have been better. We expect better. And I'm certain Jurgen Klopp will be fucking fuming with the performance over it, because when we still had quality on that pitch, we still should have done better. We should have reacted better. To have no shots on target in a game at home against anyone in any circumstance is a little bit unacceptable. But yeah, look, I trust, and I think we all would trust at this point that that Liverpool will be better and do better. And with another game coming thick and fast, hopefully Jurgen won't go and give them the points as he suggested at the weekend. Hopefully they'll go and fight and scrap and do everything they can. But look, it's a word of warning on all of this, is that we are entering into a mental period of football the likes of which we've never seen before. Liverpool are going to have to rotate more heavily, and in which case that means that we're going to have to get more of our fringe players in the team more regularly, and they're going to need to get up to speed, and it means we're going to see a drop-off in quality because they're not fully match fit. Or we're going to absolutely run ourselves into the ground, and we're going to get so many injuries that we're going to have no choice but to play those players, and then they have no match sharpness, and we've got no respite for them. So, yeah, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a mad few months of football. But the good thing is, of course, Liverpool are still in a very, very strong position to progress to the round of 16, which is the only objective from the group stage of the Champions League. And a win at the weekend puts the pressure on, with Tottenham Hotspur looming in a couple of weeks' time as well. So, yeah, what Liverpool's aim is, for me, is to get to a point where we qualify from the Champions League, no matter what that looks like. And when we arrive at that Tottenham game, that is an opportunity for us to go above Tottenham and stretch away from Tottenham in the league with the best possible side that we have available to us. I think that's the game plan. Am I right? Who fucking knows? I'm often wrong. If you think I'm right, drop a like on this video right now. Chris is going to be back very, very shortly with the player ratings show. So if you've got some thoughts on what you think the players should be rated out of 10, I suspect there'll be some low numbers, but stay tuned for that show. You can click through. It'll be in the it's right below there in the comment section, so you can click through for that, or you can get it via the channel as well, or just subscribe, click the notification bell. If you want more from me, if you want to get one of these fantastic Christmas sweatshirts, the last Christmas ones with a bit of Klopp and Hendo and a World Club Championship, because Liverpool are champions of the world. There's 5 designs, in fact, to fit all kinds of different styles. Whether you love a bit of something that's a bit of a madness, or you love something a bit more, a bit more classic and casual and what have you, in sweatshirts and in t-shirt form. We've also got our brand new book. We've got mugs. We've got Redmen 10-year anniversary merch, random t-shirts, loads of great presents. So go and check out the Redmen TV merch store. But yes, check back. I'm going to be back in about half an hour's time with the Instant Match Reaction with Chris. Until then, I'll see you soon.